No. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we'll wait for that. That
Yes.
sounds like it would be actually pretty awesome. So one of the things that you brought up was hyperphantasia. So what is that? And how can you tell if you or someone else has it?
Yeah, so hyperphantasia is the ability to picture things in like extreme detail and to zoom in. So the test that is used for this is like if you close your eyes and you're picturing an apple, and like you have to get into it, but does the apple have color? And then, like if you zoom in, does it have like imperfections? If you like cut it, does it like, glisten inside? Are there any details on the inside? Like I'm sitting here working with an apple that I see, right? Because a person will visualize an apple that they see if they experience hyperphantasia, and they'll be able to zoom in and then zoom, out. Like for me, I could just then there was a table involved, like, and I could describe the table that the apple was
Oh,
on. It was on a cutting board, and I know what the cutting board looks like, right? And I can zoom in on the details of that. So the ability to picture in that kind of detail, the vividness of it is what hyperphantasia is. A lot of people actually do this, and people with various conditions are like more likely to do it. Or there's times where, like, let's say that you had schizophrenia and you were able to have that kind of detail, like that happens. Or there's various other types of conditions where you can get this fine detail that comes out like that. But in the end, there's certain things that come out in a presentation of a person who does that. And one of them is the ability to have like extremely good detail, like autobiographical detail. And the other one is the ability to like generate thoughts, right, that move forward like a hypothesis, or it could just be complete fiction. Another thing that happens is that when you're reading a book, you have this ongoing, like cinematic experience inside of your head, and there's all these details like it that you would not be able to say came from the book. It's what you put there, it's what you saw. And so, like, for instance, somebody goes to a movie and they're like, this isn't what I pictured at all, right? About a book that they read because they pictured it in exquisite detail, and then this isn't lining up. So those are aspects that come out with hyperphantasia, and the movie that I chose uh, did that exquisitely.
Okay.
yeah. So say Nas has hyperphantasia, right? And I want to support him. I'm a friend, right? I want to support him. How do I do that? How do you support somebody with hyperphantasia?
So there's several things. It depends on what things are happening, but I'll list a few. So one of them is this is a very dense filter. In my book, whenever I present Eliza D, she experiences hyperphantasia right from after the first page because she's sitting there, she's looking at a sunset, she has night blindness, so her vision is fading, and her hyperphagia is taking over. So she's going into the pictures in her mind. But if you look at the pictures in her mind, she starts with her memories, the time she learned something about the sun, learned about the moon, learned about the stars, right? And she's enveloped each time in the sense of being in that space. Um, and so then she moves past that because she's using that. Autistic people do this as well, where they do pattern thinking. So it's the sun, the moon, the stars. Then what? Right? So she's playing that game of sun, moon, stars, what? Right? And so you get to see how she pushes into that space by using this pattern that she's aware of that she uses with her memories. But the thing is a child who, or a human, any human who's enveloped in that dense of a filter, you need to like understand, like, right, if you touch them, they're going to freak out.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Especially if they're engaged very deeply in that
Yeah.
filter, like if they look like they are, because they're not going to be here, right? You can kind of see it in the eyes. But, right? Did you raise your hand? Did you need
Oh,
something?
no,
I was
sorry.
checking in.
That
Oh,
Jesus. No, that was me giving you the visual. Their mind's going to be in the space, the stars somewhere.
yeah,
It's not yet. Yeah, sorry.
absolutely.
That was a visual.
Gone.
Yeah.
Is
Right.
there?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I need to pee. I
Exactly.
need to pee.
But you can also see it. Do you need to?
No, no. Sorry. Autistic moment. I'll shut up.
Okay. The thing too is like oftentimes hyperphantasic people will use their hands more, like the everybody uses illustrators to some extent, but hyperphantasic people will sit there and draw the little shapes that they're seeing in front of
Yeah.
them while they're talking, right? And so like you'll see them like they look like they're speaking sign language, but they're
Yeah.
not, because they're just drawing the shapes of their stuff. And so she, right, if you were to come and be like, hey, it's time for dinner, it'd be jolting. It's just like, right? Like the transitions um need to be gentle. Just like a hey, hello, how you doing? What's up? Like bringing back to earth, please bring back gently. That would be nice.
Right.
Right? Like
Yeah.
like coming back into your body, coming back into your here and now. Like it'd be nice if that filtered like way more slowly than a jolt, like a what are you doing? Right? Like that's terrifying, right? If you weren't doing what you were supposed to because you were trapped in your head, you don't get to choose when you get trapped in
Nope.
your head. Like, who
Nope.
chooses that? I'm not like sitting there looking at something or hearing a noise. And that's the thing, too. You'll smells, sounds, phrases, all kinds of things. Like you hear a line and then you have to say the end of the line because that's part of a lyric that you know, and it's just
Yep.
like permanently like those are connected together, and you got to make sure that it ends, right? If it starts, it's got to end. And so,
Yep.
right, having these things that are like that um, happen, and also the thing too is if they're in a place that isn't great, grounding is wonderful. Asking them to see colors, like, can you see 5 colors? Can you feel the weight of your body pushing into what's below you?
Okay.
Can you feel the temperature of your hands?
Yep.
That's like a way to get them to re-engage their frontal lobe whenever they've gone to a scary place.
Hmm, okay.
Magnificent.
Mm,
So those are the first two, right? Gentle out, and also engaging the frontal lobe whenever they've lost themselves in thoughts that are terrifying.
Grounding techniques. Yep. And I use a lot of those different things too with the colors. I'll start maybe trying to focus on that. Real quick. Man, it was magnificent having Rebecca on the podcast today. I'm learning how autistic as shit we are. Jesus Christ. I mean,
Did
wow.
you visualize the apple?
Oh my God. My mouth was watering.
Ah,
Yeah, mine does too.
I was like, I'm about to bite the shit out of this apple now.
Right?
all I
It was
could think was like
glistening,
a cup.
wasn't it?
What do you mean a
Did you
cup?
see the juice? It was such a juicy apple.
You didn't even see an apple? You just saw a cup?
No, I just saw a cup. I didn't see shit. I was like, nope. I was closing my eyes. I was like, apple, 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 apple. Nothing.
Nothing? Not even an apple bottom? I'm sorry.
Moving on.
Rebecca, everyone, remember, Rebecca, I'm going to say stupid shit. I'm sorry.
Yes,
No,
yes.
you're fine.
Stupid people here on the Different
No, I
Choices
saw
podcast.
I saw the apple, and then I visualized different colors that it could be, the red, little green stem, and then I started going into the apples that I actually like to eat. I was like, oh yeah. And then
Yeah,
you
you can filter through a bunch of apples too. That's a thing too, where
Yep.
like whenever you're like solidifying, and you're like, what is it? Oh, it's like it could be that. Oh, it could be that. Oh, I really like that one though. Yeah, we're gonna go with that, or whatever, right? Like it's
Yep.
it's morphing kind of as you go along, but you see it, right? And you
Yep.
can even describe what you saw because it was visual.
the juices, the flowing, the
And
citrus.
it wasn't visual because it's not your eyes, but it's the visualization.
Visualization. Yeah, it's the images, but even more, it's the actual your brain's like feeling and tasting and smelling all of it.
Yeah, and interacting with it, right? The ability
Yeah.
to interact with it as though it's like this thing that you can interact with because you can cut it or whatever. And then like if you want to take your knife and you're like, oh, it's got a black handle, right? Or whatever like you could just sit there and we can walk out on the back porch of the place where you had the apple. Like it's just,
Yep.
you know what I mean? As you go, because like let's say you're reading a book, you're visualizing it. As people talk, you're visualizing it, or you're trying to. Sometimes you get lost. Maybe somebody says some jargon that you don't understand. It breaks the visualization. You have no idea what they're talking about, right? Because the the ability to communicate is the ability to picture on some level for people like me, right? So if I lose the visualization, I'm like, hold up, I have no idea what we're talking about. Go back to this word. How do you define that? Like,
Facts.
you lost me
All right.
right there.
Magnificent
Or
question.
I can hear something, go the wrong direction, realize I haven't heard you since the last time you said blah, and I'm like, really sorry. My brain like was doing fireworks or something. Because I can take off from
This
various things.
this happened the other day.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. Check out the full episode on our channel and anywhere you find podcasts. Also, remember to like and subscribe. Whoop whoop.